Hey all, welcome. My name is Nyako, and in today's video, I want to preview Moreblocks version 3. The most important thing about Moreblocks version 3 is that there is an introduction of Firefox Extension, and Firefox Extension is now going to share the same code base as the Chrome extension. I've rewritten everything when it comes to the extension from vanilla JavaScript to now using React JS and TypeScript. So with this new one, we have one code base that both Firefox and Chrome share. So any changes that I do make for the code base will be affected or will reflect in both the Firefox and the Chrome extension, making it really easier to work with. With that being said, I want to actually take you into it so you can see what has happened, especially in the Firefox extension. Most of the things that you do see in version 2.7 remain the same, and there have been an enhancement of one or two things. So let's go in and see what has changed. All right, so I am in Firefox, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the extension by toggling it on. So if you see it, you might be thinking there might not be anything, there might not be too much changes when it comes to the first view of it. And that is pretty true. There is not a lot of changes to the very front of it, because these things, I do not think that we should change them because they do work as they should. But one or two things have changed that I'm going to walk you through. The first thing that has actually really changed is that the dark and light mode actually really work at this time. They are working in version 2.7, but this is better because of how I've rewritten the code. So if you want to do dark or light mode, you can click on this for dark mode, and you can click back on that for light mode. So it is pretty simple how to go about it. The next thing is that we do have this sparkle. We are going to talk about what the sparkle icon represents, but at the moment we are going to leave it as it is. And to the left hand side of the header, we do also have the CSS. At first, there used to be one little icon that takes you into the CSS, but now with this icon, it's going to take you into the variable manager, the color, and the clamps, which we are going to tackle later on. The next thing you do see is this icon that shows you your favorite. At the moment, we have no favorite, so there's nothing there. But when I favorite any of these things and I go back in here, you are going to see the favorite that we have in the component. The next thing that you are going to also touch on, the next thing we're going to touch on is the new. When you click on the new, anything that has been marked new within the system is also going to show over here. And we do have the free and the pro. This toggles your layout from a grid to a list, which is what it's supposed to do. You do have your filter over here. You do have your profile. When you click on this, you're going to go into your dashboard. That you're going to see one or two things also over there. Down below, we do have your clear cache. If you are not seeing any new components, but they have launched, when you clear your cache, you'll be able to see it. When I scroll all the way to the bottom too, we do have the scroll to the top that you can click on if you scroll all the way to the bottom and you want to go all the way to the top. All right, so that is that when it comes to the front view. One more thing that I don't want to miss is I want to show you the new redefined preview of each of the components. So since we are on navbar 1, I'm going to click on this and you are going to see the newly redesigned one. It looks kind of the same, but it is pretty different under the hood. And we have moved the responsiveness to the top also. When I do click on this, you can see that the responsiveness also works as they should. All right, I'm going to click on this to close it. So that is that for the very first view of it. Now let's get into the CSS part of the extension. So I'm going to click on the CSS, and when I click on that, there are a few things over here that I want to tackle on. But the first thing that I want to actually speak on is the variables. The variable manager has now been rewritten and redesigned for better viewing, and I do think that this new edition of it is better than the old one because of some of the things that I have implemented into it. And I'm going to show you these things that I have implemented. But let's look at the nitty-gritty of it. Firstly, you are able to create your own variable set or a group of variables by giving them a name let's call this variables, right? Or maybe let's call this test. And then when you do type the name, automatically it gives you a name over here, which is good. So we're just going to click on that. So when you do that, it creates a new set, and that new set will also need to have some variables. And these variables, they will need to have like a suffix. So whether it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or you can use these suffixes that I've already made over here, depending on what you're actually working on. But let's say these are for fun, so we are going to give it the numerals, right? So that is that. So after you've done that, you can see that it has given us these numbers. If you want to change these, you can use the plus, or you can use the slider. All right, and if you want to change this from pixels to something else, you can also click on this to change it like that. There are also other things that you can actually do when it comes to creating variables. So let's call this one new color, right? So new color is a new variable that we want, a new variable set that we want to create. So I am going to click on add. So this for color, and then if I want to do color also as numbers, I can click on this to do as numbers, and I just click on that. It is not going to give it a color name, but it's going to give it this, and after that we can refine it to colors if we do want that. So from here, what I'm going to do is I want to click on this for my new colors, and I'm going to, let's say I want to use this color. So I do have these colors over here that I've created. I'm going to close this and then open these up and go into colors. So from here I can assign this to that, close it, go back, go into color, assign this to that, close it, go back, color, that's the third one. So, and so on and so forth. So you can just keep going and then adding these new colors that you have created over here. If you want to remove a variable, you can just click on this to remove the variables, which is good. And if you want to add a new variable, you can just click on that to add a new variable. You can go back into it and then you can assign your color. That is it. So that is how you do with adding new variables, adding variable presets, and making things actually work for you depending on what you can do. The reason why I added these was because a lot of people couldn't create variables like for margin and border, and the ones that were already made, you have to go into the CSS, the style sheet of Moreblocks, the style sheet of breakdowns to actually make the changes which people didn't want to actually do that much. So with this, you'll be able to create variables over here, and then you'll be able to make the granular changes, and from there you can apply it to your style sheet and they are going to work. The next thing that I want to show you is that after you have created your variables, if you want to use them, you can just click on copy, and it's going to copy them. You can go into your global styles, go into your style sheet. Let's say you go into your style sheet. Remember that everything should be within this extraction point. So we can come back all the way to the bottom, and then we can paste what we just created. So you can see this is the test and this is the new color. So if you just want to copy the variables and add it to your already made variables, you can do that. Let's say we're just going to remove it. We don't want to use that. All right, so I close that, and then we're going to save this. All right, so the next thing that I actually want to take you through is that even though you can create new variables, I've already created variable group set for you that you can use for the development to make your workflow even faster. So what I'm going to do is delete the old one. I'm going to scrub everything so everything is clean, and we're going to start again. So to the tab on here, we do have quick sets. So quick sets are already variables created that you can use for your own development. So let's say that we want to add font size, padding, margin, and then let's say grid span, and then grid template. So as soon as you click on them, you can see that they add new variable set and variables within them that you can use. After, you can just click on here to hide it so you can make it more lean for your screen. So from here, everything has been created. If you want to go in and make granular changes, you can absolutely go in and make granular changes to it if you want to do that. All right, So that is pretty how it should work. So you have done this and you want to apply it to your style sheet that we already looked at. What you can do is you can click on this to copy it, go back, open this up, and then from here you can paste it in between the extraction point. Let's say you do not have this already set up, so you are thinking about how can I get this, and you can get this in another way. So let's say that we already added some stuff here, right? I'm going to close this. When you click on this code icon, when I click on this, it's going to open up a simple IDE. There's not anything fancy or stuff like that, but it's a very, very simple IDE that you can use to manage everything that you do have in your variable set. It does have the extraction point at the beginning. It also does have the extraction point at the end. So it's pretty good. So if you don't have that code, you can use this and then just click on copy. You can also make changes here if you want to make your own manual changes in here. Any change that you do over here will reflect over here. So you don't have to make any changes on here. It's here for you to see the code that you're working with and so on and so forth. So that is that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, right? And then I'm going to close it. When I go in here, I'm going to add a new style sheet just for testing. I'm going to paste it into it. You see that what we just did. So the first one, which is font size, is on here. That is that. So eggs and clam, stuff like that. Cool stuff. All right, so that is that. I'm going to clean it up. The next thing that we are going to look at is how to pull data from here into your variable manager. Let's say that you have some code, you copied it from somewhere, or you're already using this code on here and you want to sync it so that you can manage and then you can just sync it back into it. The way to do that is pretty simple. And as you can see, this is very different from what you do have in version 2.7 or in version 2.5. So I'm going to clean this up so you can see the new one that comes in. To the right side of the quick set, we do have sync. So what sync does is it pulls data from the website that you are on. So these website that you are on, it is going to pull the data from that very website you are on. It's not going to put the data from any other website than the website that you're working on. So when I do click on sync, what it does is it pulls that data. Remember, it is going to only pull the data within the extraction. So I'm going to talk about extraction again because it is really important. So when you go into extraction, the extraction starts from here and then it ends over here. So anything in between these 2 points is the data that it is going to copy. Remember, anything within this 2 points is the data that it is going to copy. It is really important. So it has pulled every data that we do have. And I'm going to show you how fast it is in pulling data that has changed when you already made some changes. So on here we do have, so this color, the tar, we do have the tar colors over here. You see that our very first color is black. I'm going to change this color from black to, let's say, pink, right? So pink, I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to click on sync. Like when I click on sync, you can see that now the pink has been pulled and you are able to use that pink to also create new colors. And just so you know, this pink is not the reason why you have this color. This color is coming from this very color over here. When I change it, and I go back, you are going to see the colors on here. So that is that. And from here, you are able to manage your color. You can also change the color from here. And then after you change the color, you can click on this to copy all the colors. And then you can come back in here and then you can go through, delete everything, and then use that again if that is what you want to do. All right, so that is that when it comes to using the code that you already have in your style sheet, using the quick set, syncing things up, changing things using the breakpoint and stuff like that. So those are really, really important. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to clear everything again so that I can show you something else. All right, now let's go into clamps. Clamps are probably the best way to work with typography. And in version 2, version 2.5, version 2.7, you do have clamps, which are really powerful. But The problem with version 2.7 and working with clamps is that you only create a clamps and you save it. Like there's too much of a loophole. So now when you create clamps, you can use the clamps really quick when it comes to adding it to your variables and your variable set. So I'm going to show you how this works. So we do have clamps over here. We're going to create only 3, and this one we're going to give it a name called fluid because we are in a fluid clamp. So after that, the first one is this. I'm going to save it. I like it. I saved it. All right, the next one, I'm just going to change the numbers a bit, and then I'm going to also save that. So the third one, I'm going to change the numbers and then also save that. That is all. After that, if you want to use these clamps that you have created, all you need to do is click on create variable set, click on OK, go into your variable set, and voila, you do have it over there. So I'm going to go back over here. Remember, the name that we used for the clamp was called fluid. If you want to add some like new ones to it, we can just click on this, and then it's called fluid. We've added the name fluid, and then we are going to leave this just like that, right? We are going to save this, and then I'm going to change this one to a 10, and I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to change this one to a 40, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to change this one, let's say 37, and I'm going to save that, and I'm going to click on create variable set. So it's going to tell you that the variable set that you're trying to create already exists, which is fascinating. And I'm going to say, okay, then append it. It's going to say that it has appended 4 new values to your variable set. We're going to click on OK. Then we're going to go back in here and we are going to see what we just did. So the new ones that we just created have now been appended to it, which is pretty good. All right, if we do have some duplicates over here and you don't want them, you can absolutely remove them. The reason why these are duplicates is that we might have changed the minimum, maximum width. That is why you are able to still see these things. If they were actually the same, you wouldn't be able to save them. All right, so that is that. Let's go back into clamps and look at a few more things. To the right side, we do have this over here called scale. When you click on scale, the difference between a fluid clamp and a scaled one is not because they are not both clamps. They are both clamps. But with scale clamps, you are able to create a batch much more easily and faster. So instead of going into fluid and creating one after the other, when you go into scale, scale uses the scale ratio to make the clamp either big or small. And from here, I can show you that this is the desktop view for these fonts, and I can click on this to show you the mobile view of them also. So that is that. If you want to use this for your variables, all that you need to do is create a new group. So let's call this one scale. So it's going to give it a name over here. You don't have to touch the name if you don't want to. And just click on variable set. Click on OK. When we go into variables, you can see that we do have the scale here, and it is number 1 to number 8. And you do have your set numbers also over here, which is pretty damn good. So that is how you deal with your clamps. So we've added some new clamps that we are going to use later on. Let's leave it over here. Let's get into colors. Remember that in variables, you are able to make colors, but those colors do not create a set of variable sets. But with colors in here, you can do even much more. Let's say we do have a color of this, right? Okay, let's say a deep blue color, right? I can scale this up to a 10. And then from here, all that I need to do is click on create variable set. It's going to create, it tells you the blue colors. You click on OK, like that. We go into variables, and in here, when you see blue colors, so blue colors are now added to my variable. It has the IDs and all the things that I do want, which is pretty good. All right, but then there's more to the color set. In here, we also do have color harmonies. So I'm going to choose this blue color again, go into color harmony. It gives you your complementary colors, it gives you your analogous colors, and it gives you your trident colors. So whatever color that you want to combine with your very color that we just dealt with, that's what you can do. So let's say that we want to use a red. So I just click on the red. It generates colors for me over here. I can scale this up as much as I want, or I can just let it go like that. And after that, I'm going to create variable set with them. I'm going to click on this. It tells me that I want to create red colors. I said, okay, I like it. When I go into variables, my red colors are in here. I can manage them, I can change things, and I can go forward with that. All right, so those are the color harmonies. The next thing that we can also do is we can deal with color palette from images. So I'm going to click on here, and then I'm going to scroll down and find an image. So let's say this image, I'm going to select it. All right, so when I select this image, it creates colors that are more prominent in the image, create palettes with them. So all that I need to do is, if I want to use these colors, I can click on that, and it puts them over here. Click on this, it puts that color over here, and then I can click on that, and it will put that color over there. So with this integration, you have more when it comes to creating colors. You are no more placed in a place where you don't have any colors to use, because you have options, whether you want to use the color harmonies or whether you have an image, you want to extract the color from it, you can also do that. So that is pretty damn important. So these are the additions when it comes to colors. These are additions that has been done to it. So we've added color harmony, image color palette. When you go into our clams, we've also added these clam colors to that, which is pretty, we've added clams for either fluid or scale, which is pretty damn good. But after you've done all of this, you have to use either the colors, the clams, through the variables. And that's where we are going to get into using these variables in your own project. How does that work? If you watched any of the previous videos, I've walked you through how these work, and I'm going to walk you through also again. So we've done this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this and then close that and then go into variables. And on here, these things I haven't added to my variables in my project yet, but I can do that by clicking on copy, click back over here, go into global, come back over here, open this up. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, right? I'm going to click back all the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to paste this. All right, so I'm going to use these colors in addition to whatever that I do have already. I'm going to close that and then save this. After that, what I'm going to do is I can delete everything from here, right? And then I can sync this. So everything that is in here has been synced to my variable manager. All right, and I'm going to close this, and that should be good. So we have everything on here, the colors. Where's the blue color so we can see that? So these are blue color, you remember? Blue color. So pretty damn good. All right, now how do we use this in our project? Because we do have our variables in our style sheet, we do also have them in our manager for us to be able to use. You cannot use the variables that are on your project without syncing them to the variable manager. For you to be able to use them, you have to sync them on here. You can use them directly within your project without Moreblocks at all. You can close this and you can use it with that. But if you want to use you want to have the full experience of it, you need to sync them over here. And let me show you what to do next. So next then is that we want to apply some of these things to our project. So I have selected this very header text. What I'm going to do is we need to get the overlay. If you watch version 2.7 or if you used any of the previous one, we do have an overlay that you can use to inject these variables into your project manually. So to do that, this sparkle icon, I'm going to click on that. So it has turned green. It means that we are ready to use these things within our project. So how do you go about that? Let's go into styling. I'm going to go into typography. And on here, I am going to click on this. So when I do click on that, what has happened is that we have started, or we are going to go through the overlay so you can see how powerful the new version is. All right, so there are things at the top that I want to talk about. The very first one is this eye icon. So what does the eye icon do? So what the eye icon does is when you toggle it on, it shows you the value of each and every one of these IDs of these IDs, these variable IDs. So the corresponding values to them, you can see them over here, which is pretty damn good. All right, so we do have this, and it tells us like the numbers and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. We can turn them off if they are taking too much real estate. All right, let's come back over here. let's toggle this off so that I can show you actually how it works later on. So we do have preview, we do have ID injection, and we also do have auto inject. Let's start with auto inject. When auto inject is turned on, what it does is it changes, I'm going to turn this off, it changes every input field. It changes this from whatever that you have to custom. Because if you want to use input fields for your variables, it has to move from either pixels, RAM to custom. So what I'm going to do is, since this is turned on, I'm going to demonstrate that for you to see. So I'm going to click on this input field. So when I click on it, you see that it changed it from pixel to custom. We can also go back, choose something else, and then we can click back on here to change it from VW to also custom, making it simple to work with. All right, so now that we've done that, we can talk about the other things that are in here also. Now, let's start with ID inject. So what is ID inject? ID inject is a process of typing in an ID, and the ID would then change from the ID itself to the variable. And how does that actually demonstrate? So let's say that we do have this that is a font. So this is from 1 to number 9. So number 9 seems to be something that is pretty big. So we're going to work with that. So I'm going to focus on here, and I'm going to type in CF-9. I'm going to click on enter. As soon as I click on enter, you'll see that the size has changed, and now we do have recently used. So anytime you call an ID and the ID injects the variable, it will also document that as something that you have just used. If you do not want to see the recently used, you can just click on the love and it's going to go away. If you want to see it, you can toggle it back on and it's going to show back again. Pretty cool, right? All right, the next thing that I want to show you is the last one, which is the preview. What does the preview stand for? So the preview stands for you previewing variables. Let's say when you want to see what the variable is actually going to do without you actually using it. You are going to test the variable to see how it is going to do. And that is what I want to show you. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to remove whatever that was there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle on preview. Then I'm going to hover on a few things so that we can actually see. Let's drag this to the side. And then over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover on number 1. So number 1, that is the size of number 1. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, and then number 9, which is the same thing. We're using number 9 now. Okay, remove the old one. So this is number 9, which is the same thing. So it is pretty damn good when it comes to previewing. What about if you are previewing and you want to actually use it? Will you be able to use that? Yes, you can. So we are going to use number 1. I'm just going to click on that. And then we already injected that into our input field. So this is Moreblocks version 3. And as I've shown you, most of the things that we are using now are mostly the same as you do have in version 2.7 downwards, but it has been rewritten to make sure that it is more efficient and it works better. With the introduction of auto inject, which is pretty damn good, you're able to turn any input field from just pixels or whatever to custom, making it ready to be used when it comes to you working with variables. So the Moreblocks Firefox extension is coming out and is going to help those that were on the sidelines when it came to using the extension. And both the Chrome and the Firefox now share the same code base written in React and TypeScript, making it really, really simple for me to work on when things start to change or if I want to make some improvement to the extension. As you can see, I'm not sleeping on my loins. I'm making improvement here and there, making sure that the product is as good as it can be. All right, a few announcements. So the announcement is that within the next 2 months, I'll be transitioning everybody from using the copy and paste on the website. I will transition everybody from using the copy and paste on the website to using either the Chrome or the Firefox extension. And you can use any of them. You can take your email and your API and go and use it in Chrome or the Firefox extension without any hassle, because they are the same thing. All right, I need to close this and then turn this off. All right, so that is that when it comes to moving away from using the website for copy and paste. The website will still be available if you want to download full websites that you can use on your project. So for full websites, that website will still be available for you to go in and download it on your dashboard. Another thing that I want to talk about is we haven't had any discounted sales for probably a year and a half now, and I do think that with version 3 coming, it is only appropriate that we introduce another discounted pricing if anybody wants to get on board and see the things that you can do with Moreblocks. I'm going to introduce a discounted pricing version so that you can consider it when it comes to your next purchases. Apart from that, there's nothing else than being grateful for everybody that has trusted the project. Every one of you that has inputted something to the project, I'm pretty grateful, and thank you for supporting. Thank you for being part of the family. Hopefully this new update is going to help you and is going to change the way that you build with breakdance. My name is Nyakum. This is Moreblocks. Catch you on the next one.